How's it going, folks? Nick here with this Permaculture vlog. Otto, my co-star, is right here. And I just want to say really quick that we're very proud of Otto because today, for the first time, he's brought home a mouse. Look, here it is. He's been looking for it. I took it away from him. This is, you know, I don't really condone the cats going after and killing all the wild animals, right? It's not, you don't really want like massive amounts of cats doing that. But this mouse, or at least a mouse, and I'm assuming it's this one, has actually been getting into our oven, which is in our kind of garage area, and eating the bread that I keep in there to keep it away from the mice and rats. It's been getting into there and eating the bread. So this is the reason we have Otto, good boy, is to take care of problems like this for us, and he's now doing it. So we're very proud of him. He's very excited about it. As you can see, he's gonna take it. He'll probably play with that for a while. I'm about to just basically throw it over the fence so it's away from Otto. The poor mouse doesn't have to be, you know, played with while he's dead. That makes me feel bad, right? Because the cat's just playing with him at this point. But we are very proud of you. Good boy. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to show you a general homestead update. I got a lot of projects happening the past week, and of course we have baby chicks. You'll see lots of baby chicks today. Let's get started right now. See, Otto just likes to play with him at this point. The mouse is very dead. It's been dead for a while now, at least for a few hours. So it's very dead. It's not like feeling any pain at this point, but Otto is indeed enjoying his time with his prey. I'm about to ruin that for him. Ooh. Oh, never mind, he's running away with it. So now I don't even know if I'll be able to find it. All right, I see it right now. Oh, look, over there. Oh, there it is, go get it. So while he was looking at that, I got the mouse, and we'll just toss that over into the wild. Goodbye, mouse. Such a good cat. You're such a good kitty. Good job. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. I'm sorry I took that away from you. Right now he's like looking everywhere for it. Thinks that it's still here, and he just misplaced it. So, all right, well, we're right next to the chickens, so let's go ahead and take a look here. Here they are. Mama and her chicks. I need to refill that food little thing there. So Mama, she's been doing a really good job. She's very ferocious when it comes to making sure that nothing else comes near her chicks. That is especially true of my boots. Once my boots get in that pen and she gets anywhere, I get anywhere near her or her chicks, she goes so crazy about my boots. So we might see that in just a second, because I need to go get that feed tray so I can fill it up for him. Look at her already. She sees that my boot's in here. She's coming to check it out. I'm not gonna hurt you, bud. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. Good mama. Good job. You can see she really wants to come attack, but she knows me. So she knows that I'm not gonna hurt her chicks, because if it's just me, if it's like my face or it's my body really close, she doesn't attack. She sees me, she's happy with me. I can actually still touch her, which was not true of the other mama when she got broody here. So I can still touch her. I can still, like, you know, check in on her. I've held her a couple times while she's had these chicks, which she doesn't exactly love, but she doesn't hate either. So it's much different than the other one. I can actually interact with her, and that's because Henry was raised by humans, so she's so used to humans that it's just a normal thing for her. So in the meantime, Otto is searching for his prey. That's where he lost it, right around there. That's when he was looking at something else. I threw the rocks and I grabbed it from him. So poor Otto, he's very confused, probably quite upset with me, but he doesn't know it was me. He thought he just lost it, so he'll be down there probably looking for that the whole time we're out here. So, all right, so for the chicks, what I do is I actually just soak regular feed. I don't have any special feed for the chicks. I just take the normal feed that I feed the chickens, I fill this up with water, and then I basically fill this up with the feed in the water. It soaks in, gets nice and mushy, easy for the chicks to eat, has a little more water in it, which is good for the chicks, because while they do drink water, it's just good to make sure that that's going to help with the digestion. And that nice, soft, kind of granulated, pelleted feed is much easier for them to digest. So that's what we do with the chicks, so I'm going to get that ready. That's full. Let's go back and actually get the feed now. So now that I have the water, I just fill this up with feed. Kind of soaks in. You can see it starts to pour because it overflows. That's okay. And then I just fill it up. So I still see water, but it's not like all over the place. And then I just kind of like pat this all down so it can start sucking up all that excess water that there's there. And there you have it, nice and easy. Easy chick feed. Means you don't have to go look for extra new kind of chick feed or more crushed for them to digest. Just soaking it right there, that'll do everything you need. No need to go get special chick feed or anything like that. Nothing wrong with getting chick feed. I just might as well make it easy on myself, right? One of the chicks right now has like a worm or a grub or something. They're all kind of running away, fighting over it, just like the big chicks do, but these are little chicks. It's that one right there. Oh, it's here. You can kind of see it dragging along there. Yeah, that one right in the front, a very whitish one. Uh-oh, I think it was stolen. There it is. Meanwhile, we have our regular feed, and they're not interested. It's right up here, this front one. This one right here has it. Meanwhile, Mama wants them to eat, but she wants to make sure that her running away chick is okay. I guess I'll use this opportunity to show you guys what I built for them, which is this little mini chick enclosure, a chicken mama enclosure. Really, it's just a exterior nesting box, and on the inside, it's literally just her nesting box. It's just like a little place for her to be in. Nothing special, nothing fancy. This is just made out of 2x4 and plywood scraps that I had. I literally just threw this together last Thursday. It took, maybe 2 hours to build everything, and I was doing... I actually don't have my circular saw here, so I actually did all the cutting by hand and everything, including the plywood. No big deal, but it's been a while since I've done that. So that was a fun little workout and just get those muscles moving again, I like that. It's very basic. I have this thing right here. This thing ends up closing. It fits in here. We shove it up there, and then it literally is held shut just with this little bar. Let me take you out of here. So basically it fits in like that at the bottom there, and then at the top here, it goes to this little screw right here. So it's basically just friction fit in there. We can just remove this piece of 1x right here, and that's going to hold it in for us. And that keeps them nice and safe. This stuff that nothing can get through. It's screwed on here. There's the bar here. I have a little handle just to help us pull it open once it's kind of friction fit in there. And so far this has been working great. This gives them a nice roof area so they can actually go in there if it's raining to have a nice little break from the rain, stay dry. And other than that, it's just a bunch of 2x4 and a couple pieces of plywood. Oh, I see one of the twins are in here enjoying the soaked feed. All the other chickens like soaked feed too. It's not just the chicks. In fact, they prefer soaked feed. It's a little easier for them to eat. So I often see that they get in here first before the chicks even get to it and eat all of it before they get a chance. I have to refill it. Mama's down there. If Mama comes up here, she's going to attack this hen like nothing else. I've seen her really go to town on both this one and the other twin. We call them the twins just because they look similar and they're kind of like one of the generations. But they've both been in here before when Henry has realized, and Henry just goes crazy and attacks and makes sure that she's nowhere near her chicks. Luckily, these hens know to get out of the way really quickly, or they just kind of huddle down and don't move at all, so they don't end up getting in trouble. There's the other one. There's the other twin that knows how to get in here. So at this point, if Mama comes up here, it's going to be a little bit of a showdown. It's always fun to have baby chicks on the homestead here. It just makes everything a little bit more exciting when you're out here. It does mean a little bit more management, but looking at these chicks, it's hard to complain too much because it's just, they're so adorable, right? They're so adorable, so cute. This is the cutest stage they're in. And looks like Henry's coming up to say something. Oh, no, decide not to. Back to the chicks and Mama. It's just been so nice to have chicks out here. It just means that when I'm working on the computer, I actually am oh, here comes Mama. Let's check on her feed maybe. She might be coming up now. You can see the other hen quickly ran away, and she's now approaching Henry's other chicks. She's not gonna like that. Good job, Mama. Look at her down there. She's trying to protect her chicks there. It's okay, come on up here. No need to get into a big fight. Just bring your chicks up. Good Mama, good Mama, good Mama. Here we go. Look at that, you got nice fresh food there. There you go. Here we go. That took so long to get them up here. It's pretty rare. They're usually up pretty quick, right? Once there's new food in. So we got 6. There's one off in the corner doing his or her own thing, and then we got 5 right here. You can see one of them is black, so that's coming directly from one of Henry's eggs, and the rest of them came from the other chicken's eggs. You can see Henry can't seem to fight the urge to scratch, even though there's no real need for her to scratch in that bowl. In fact, she's just making it worse by spreading it out, but that's Henry for you. Henry's gonna do what she wants to do. She's kind of a spastic chicken anyway. I just have to maintain this area now because there's chicks in here, and because they're doing so much scratching and all this feed keeps getting here, blah, blah, blah. I have to keep adding this mulch material. That's why you see there's nice brand new hay. I got this yesterday and laid it down just to make sure that this area is staying hygienic for them. They have a nice deep layer of bedding. It's not going to build up with too much manure and cause any disease for the chicks. So it's just really important to make sure you're managing that. You can see Henry is now trying to show off the other hen down there. It started to come up the slope but then stopped very wisely. But yeah, it's so nice to have chicks on the homestead. It's cool to have a second generation here. Looks like I'm probably going to have to refill this food bowl really quickly because Henry just doesn't know how to not scratch. Henry, just eat. You don't need to do anything special. It's just there. Oh, there she goes. You can see it if that hen comes near. So the only real entrance and exit under the fence is actually right here, right next to their coop here. So that hen down there, she's not actually going to be able to get out. I think there might be one more actually underneath this little piece of plywood, which is why that plywood's there. So she can't really get out down there. So she's kind of stuck right now in this sphere of Henry's influence and little area. So she'll get out eventually once she figures out that she doesn't want to be here anymore. But really excited to have these chicks here. That's the main update, obviously. Always when we have chicks, that's the feature. That's always the feature because it's hard not to be loving on these little chicks. So here's Otto. Looks like he's gotten over the mouse incident. Good boy. Oh, he doesn't want to talk to me still. It's okay. It's okay. He's mad at me for getting rid of it. He's probably not actually mad. He's probably just trying to be his own little thing. Here's the rooster bud. He's coming up to say hi. So these guys actually have plenty of food still, so that's nice. I've actually been letting this flock out quite a bit just to give Henry a little extra space and a little extra calm. So they've been out a lot. You can see there's a bunch of plywood here. That's a future project. I'm actually going to build a trellis above this area. So right now where there's this shade cloth above my head and I have to keep squatting down and everything, instead what I want to do is actually have a trellis so I can grow passion fruit and also this Malabar spinach on above the coop. And until those get big and fluffy and actually shade everything out, I'm going to add shade cloth beneath that, and I'm going to use the shade cloth to direct the parcha, the passion fruit. Whenever it's ready, it'll fall into the shade cloth, and I'm going to try to have it roll to that side through here. Obviously right now you can't see it because I gotta get here, but it'll basically roll down and then into that opening in the gate right here. So all the parcha will go and roll right out there, and when I come out to feed the chickens in the morning, any fresh parcha will be sitting right here on the ground. That is the goal. We'll see if it's actually doable. That's going to be what I'm aiming for because you never really know if that's actually going to work or not, but that's kind of my plan. So it'll probably be, the post will be right down here where this papaya tree is. It'll go across to the moringa tree. It'll come all the way up to the top of this coop. I'll probably just add a post to make this a little bit higher here, and then it'll also be attached over here. So that's a future project that we're not quite on. It's on my docket. I actually will end up probably doing it pretty soon because I have all the parts and I just want to get it done, but it's probably not quite yet. The other thing we did this week is installed finally a gutter on the side of this house here. That was a very last minute. It was just all of a sudden Rio was down here helping with another project, and we were like, oh, let's just throw it up real quick. So we got that put up. It was not a perfect install, but you can see there we have quite a bit of an angle there. That should direct any flow. And the reason we did that is because right there, you see that little divot right there? Yeah, right, the little divot. That actually takes pretty much all the water from this part of the roof right here, this entire area, all of it flows right there, and you can see what happens when we don't have that caught and moved somewhere else. This entire wall is just like degrading and gross because all that water keeps flowing down it. So we basically had to use that little divot as our height when we were setting this, setting the gutter height, because that's where most of the water flows. So that's where we started, and then we basically brought it up to there. This went to the point, we just followed that line. Once we had from there to that point, that gave us our angle. We just kind of semi-matched the angle on this side, and now we have a downspout. The downspout actually for now is just going to go right into the drainage. It comes out right at the base there. It actually goes behind this. You can't see it, but it pops out right there. And all that excess water is just going to now go down this drainage ditch that just happens to run right along the sides of our houses here. So now instead of the water still going to the same place, it's just no longer pouring down the wall and destroying that infrastructure. So we're quite happy. I'm excited to see if it actually works. I think it's working so far, but again, it was a very last minute install and it wasn't perfect. We worked with the tools we had available to us. And it wasn't like we were missing a couple little things, but I think we got it to work. So I'm pretty excited about that. I want to show you this lower garden here now that we're done with the chicks. Everyone's pretty much, probably most of you are now signed off because we got the chick fix done. Chick. And now you're done. Chick. See what I did there? Chick instead of chick. I'm just making myself laugh right now. I seeded this last week with green bean, and you can see the majority of them took. So we should have a nice big crop of green beans down here. It's looking really good. I'm really excited to see how that turns out. We also have these winged beans. The winged beans are actually starting to form on the actual vine here. Let's see if I can get that in focus at all for you guys. There it is. So that's the winged bean right there. See how it has those little wings? That's why they call it the winged bean. It like comes off of the seed pod. So that thing should get much bigger. But this right here is a winged bean. It's a tropical perennial vine, a legume vine, and it basically makes these bean ponds. And apparently it is just like a massive producer. It'll just keep going and going and going. So I'm really excited to have this on the property. All parts of this plant are edible, including the root. It makes a root that's edible and is actually like really high in protein, so that's really cool. And we're really excited to see how this turns out. You can see right now it's just vining up this post here. There's actually a couple others. There's actually this one right here that I can't seem to keep on the actual trellis that I have for it. It just wants to keep growing away from it no matter what I do. So I keep trying to like prop it up and let it do its thing. The chayote, on the other hand, it has loved its trellis. It's grown right up, and it's now actually growing right along the top of the fence line here and continuing to spread. It was actually you see two leading tips right there. Super cool to see that happening. We're really excited to eat chayote. I've never actually grown chayote before, or winged bean, honestly. So both of those really exciting for us to see where it goes and how it ends up being and tasting and all those kind of things. Really exciting. Also planted this Jamaican Red Banana. This banana should be, it takes about 2 years to produce, so it's going to be a while before we see anything, but it's a really delicious banana, starchy banana. Got that from a friend of ours. Mom brought it home from one of her friends, actually. So it's pretty cool. Spent a little time and pruned and cleaned up this tomato over here, so now it's a little bit more spread out. So instead of like falling over the bed, it's actually just following along these posts that I have up for it. And it's doing really well. There's lots of flowers on it. I've yet to see a fruit yet, but I'm not like super surprised by that. This isn't really tomato season. I just kind of put them in to see how they do in this kind of season, because that's mostly what I'm trying to do here, is experiment and learn. So long term I can get lots of production. So the beginning, anytime I'm starting a new crop or I'm kind of starting to learn how something grows, I don't really mind if I'm not getting a yield at the end, because the yield is information. The yield is me seeing what happened with that crop. And then below here, you can see we actually just came through and harvested this at the end of last week and got a lot more greens, a lot of this pak choy here and these smaller Asian greens in between. You can see here still the basil is now taking over this area, but there's still lots of those greens, the Asian greens that I planted as like the first crop. So the first thing we did is harvested those Asian greens, and we've actually thinned out the Asian greens quite a bit at this point, but you can see they're still growing. And now the basil has a chance to kind of really spread out and take over, and that's what it's doing. And I expect that it'll end up being quite a good basil crop here. It's right next to the tomato. The tomato and basil are companion plants. They help each other out if you plant them together. So those two hopefully will produce nice abundant yields of basil and tomato. You can see here we have this Jautia. Rio actually helped me identify that this was a Jautia that was an edible kind. You can see it has this kind of this almost like kind of purpley stem that comes down a little bit. It's not huge purple, but there's a little bit of purple there. And this right here is what you eat. This is the root crop that you eat. This one itself is actually rotted a little bit. You can see it's kind of rotted. It was there for too long, but this is the thing that you eat. And look at how much that is. That's just one plant right there. And that could probably have gotten bigger too. And that thing right there, that is a massive crop, a huge crop here in the tropics. Very good starchy crop. So I'm actually still learning about those, but I need to learn much more about them because that right there, that's a main crop here in Puerto Rico. So I really need to learn how to grow that more. Luckily, there's a guy at Composta PR. He talks about compost too, but he also basically grows like a market gardener doing the local tropic stuff. So really cool. I'll leave him linked above, his channel linked above if you want to check that out. It's all in Spanish, so you'll have to speak Spanish to really understand, but it is a really good resource for tropical, especially around Puerto Rico, crops, how to grow them, what works, what doesn't, etc. I'm still unsure if this is actually a type of this would be a malanga. The Jautia comes all the way down to the point here like the other leaf. This one creates kind of an M instead of a Y, and that's why this one's a malanga. But they're basically the same, similar kind of taro family crops that both produce those big starchy tubers, and that's what you end up harvesting. I don't know if this one's actually edible or not. It's just one that grows abundantly around me, and I just see it in everyone's like garden areas and backyards. So I'm just seeing if it actually ends up producing any sort of root crop for us. That's why I've left it here. If it doesn't, what I'll end up doing is replacing it with something like this that does produce a big root crop just in time for planting it around now. Will make sure it's ready around hurricane season when we might need those root crops if anything goes wrong, if we get a big hurricane this year. So you really got to think that far in advance to make sure that you're getting a yield when it's hurricane season. You got to plan for that long-term yield. You can also see over here there's another one. There's another big Jautia. I think it's the same kind. It might be a little bit different, but this one right here is just starting now, or just starting. It's been growing for quite some time now, but it actually has a slightly, I think they call it a lila version, Jautia lila. I don't know if that's absolutely true, but you can see it's kind of a reddish stem. A little bit hard to tell probably from this distance, but I don't really want to climb in there right now. So I can show you that another time, but that right there, that's another root crop, long-term. Loves that like perfect little area. So I actually might end up using that whole area if I can get more of them and just spread out all those Jautia, malanga, those taro family root crops, put them all over there. They're kind of protected in that little niche, and that'll help us have a potential crop long-term for the hurricane season. You can see the family here is ready to come out. They know that I've been letting them out a lot recently, so anytime they see me out here, they're just standing here waiting and begging for me to let them out. I probably will end up letting them out in a little bit. I like to give everything, this grass down here, a chance to dry out a little bit and have a little bit of time to rest. You can see I have these grates down just so they don't over scratch down here, because I did end up, when I installed this bed a while back, I did end up ripping up a lot of the grass here just from walking back and forth, etc. So those grates are down so they don't scratch that area. So hopefully it'll be basically the grass will grow back and it'll be revitalized instead of completely destroyed over and over again as the chickens go down there and scratch, etc. So that's why they're there. And just remembering that trellis for the parcha. So this is the parcha, this is passion fruit right here. You can see it's growing all over the place. I have 3 or 4 main vines right here. One of them is going all the way up this support tree I have. You can see it's going all the way up to the top of that. It's actually causing this entire tree to bend this way. And that'll probably end up snapping if it gets too heavy, and that's okay with me because this is a support tree and I'll end up cutting it back anyway when it gets a little bit too big or too shady. So that's perfectly fine with me. But you can also see over here, it actually climbs up this way. I have a little bit of trellis just to help it go up, but that's the goal, is I'm gonna have a post right around here. And so it'll go up, and then we'll have trellis all the way across above the chicken coop there, and that'll end up being everywhere where you see the shade cloth right now. It'll be a little bit higher, a trellis like this, slightly angled this way, and also slightly angled this way, so that all those parcha end up flowing that way with the shade cloth that I will attach underneath the trellis. So this should be a fun little project. I'll certainly take you guys along for the ride when I start doing that one, so you can just kind of see what I'm doing. And that's really just trying to maximize my production space, because that area over the chickens right now, not so productive. I have a small space. I'm trying to maximize the space I can use for growing crops. So above the chickens, it's a nice place to add a shade anyway. I'm doing that right now. And you can actually see that this Malabar spinach is already basically trying to crawl over and shade that area. So if I just add something for it to grow onto, it'll end up taking over up there. And so I'll have a combination of this Malabar spinach, which is just an abundant grower here. I can't get it to stop growing, but it's all edible. All those greens are edible. The chickens eat them, I eat them. It could be long-term a sale, something to sell. So, and also it's just, if we need greens, if we're out of greens, that thing's always gonna be there for us and always be producing. So it's nice backup greens. It's, you know, a little bit gooey. It's a little bit mucilaginous. So it's a little bit, some people don't like it so much, but once you kind of get used to it, and if you just throw it in a salad, you don't really notice that, and it's a really good green for you. All right, folks, that's it for me today. I think I've covered enough for you guys to take in and see, and mostly it was the chicks. The chicks are the main story here. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, you guys probably haven't been watching me, you're watching the chicks at this point. Luckily, at the end of this video, I'm gonna add more chick videos. So on the credits, or really after I sign off here, there'll be more videos of the chicks, so you can check that out. And I hope you do enjoy that. I'm glad you guys have watched this. Thank you for being here and watching this video, and thank you for making it to this point. If you do like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share the videos, comment, all those things. I just like to be involved, you guys to be involved in my little channel here. I do like to respond to those as much as I possibly can. I usually try to get to a response within like 3 to 5 days, if not sooner. Usually I try to do it immediately, as long as I see it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and until next time, have a good one.